Right now, in this very moment, you are exactly where you need to be. I know that might sound strange, especially if you're going through difficult times, especially if you feel lost or confused or wondering how you ended up here. But I want you to understand something fundamental about life, about your life specifically. There are no accidents. There are no mistakes in the universe. Everything that has brought you to this point has been necessary for your growth, for your evolution, for your awakening. You see, most of us spend our entire lives fighting against what is. We resist our current circumstances. We tell ourselves stories about how things should be different, how we should be further along, how we should have made better choices. And all of that resistance, all of that struggle against what is, creates suffering. It creates anxiety. It creates this sense that we're not good enough, that we're behind somehow, that we've failed. But what if I told you that where you are right now is perfect? What if I told you that every single experience you've had, every heartbreak, every failure, every moment of doubt has been preparing you for something magnificent? What if this very moment right now is the doorway to a completely new way of living? You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to know the next 10 steps. You don't need to see the whole staircase. All you need to do is take one step. And that step begins with acceptance. Not resignation, mind you, but acceptance. There's a huge difference. Resignation says, I give up. This is all there is. Acceptance says, this is where I am, and from here I can begin again. Think about a seed buried in the ground. That seed doesn't resist the darkness. It doesn't complain about being underground, about not being able to see the sun. The seed uses that darkness, that pressure, that difficult environment to transform itself. And one day, at exactly the right moment, it breaks through the soil and begins to grow toward the light. You are that seed. Your difficult times, your struggles, your moments of darkness, they're not punishments. They're the very conditions necessary for your transformation. Now, I want to talk to you about something that most people misunderstand completely. They think that change happens when you force it, when you push and struggle and fight your way through. But real change, lasting change, happens when you relax into it, when you stop resisting what is and start working with it instead. You've been trying so hard, haven't you? Trying to be someone different, trying to fix yourself, trying to become worthy of love or success or happiness. But here's the truth that will set you free. You already are worthy. You don't need to earn your worth. You were born worthy. You came into this world as a perfect expression of life itself, and nothing you've done or failed to do has changed that fundamental truth. The problem is that somewhere along the way you started believing the stories that other people told you about who you should be. Your parents had ideas. Your teachers had expectations. Society created rules about what success looks like, what happiness should feel like, how you should live your life, and slowly, gradually, you began to abandon yourself. You began to live according to someone else's blueprint instead of your own. But your spirit, your true self, has been calling to you all along. Every moment of dissatisfaction you've felt, every time you've thought, there must be more than this, that was your authentic self trying to get your attention. And maybe that's why you're here right now in this moment feeling whatever you're feeling. Maybe you've reached a point where you simply can't continue living the old way anymore. And you know what? That's beautiful. That's not a crisis. That's an awakening. When the old ways stop working, when the masks we've been wearing start to feel suffocating, when we can't pretend anymore, that's when real transformation becomes possible. That's when we're finally ready for a new beginning. So let me ask you something. What would happen if you just stopped struggling for a moment? What would happen if you took a deep breath and said, okay, this is where I am. I don't have to like it, but I can stop fighting it. What would happen if you gave yourself permission to be exactly where you are without judgment, without criticism, without shame? I'll tell you what would happen. You'd create space for something new to come in, space for clarity, space for inspiration, space for the universe to work on your behalf. Because here's something most people don't understand. When you're constantly struggling and straining and trying to force things to happen, you're actually blocking the flow of good into your life. You're like someone standing in a river, pushing against the current, exhausting yourself, when all you need to do is turn around and let the river carry you. This doesn't mean you become passive. This doesn't mean you stop taking action. It means you align yourself with the natural flow of life instead of fighting against it. It means you learn to move with grace instead of force. It means you trust the process. And trust, that's a big word, isn't it? Trust is hard, especially if you've been hurt, especially if things haven't worked out the way you planned. But trust isn't about knowing everything will be okay. Trust is about knowing that whatever happens, you have the strength within you to handle it. Trust is about remembering that you've survived every difficult moment in your life so far. You've had your heart broken, and you survived. You've faced disappointments, and you survived. You've been through dark nights of the soul, and yet here you are, still breathing, still capable of growth, still capable of love. That's not weakness. That's incredible strength. And that strength is still within you right now. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's just been covered up by fear and doubt and all those voices telling you that you're not enough. But you are enough. Right now, exactly as you are enough. You don't need to wait until you lose weight or make more money or find the perfect relationship or achieve some goal. Your worthiness is inherent. It's not dependent on external circumstances. It's not something you earn. It's something you are. And when you really understand this, when you really feel this truth in your bones, everything changes. Because you stop seeking validation from outside yourself. You stop giving your power away to other people's opinions. You stop living your life according to someone else's standards. And you start living from the inside out instead of the outside in. This is what I mean by a new beginning. A new beginning isn't about changing your circumstances, although your circumstances might change as a result. A new beginning is about changing your relationship with yourself and with life itself. It's about coming home to who you really are underneath all the conditioning and programming and fear. And who are you really? You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are not your past mistakes or your future worries. You are not the roles you play or the labels other people have given you. You are pure awareness. You are consciousness itself, temporarily wearing a human costume, having a human experience. When you identify with your true nature, when you recognize yourself as this vast, eternal awareness, all your problems become smaller. They don't disappear necessarily, but they lose their power over you. Because you realize that you're not the character in the story, struggling with all these difficulties. You're the one watching the story unfold. You're the space in which the story happens. This isn't just philosophy. This has practical implications for your daily life. When you're identified with your thoughts and emotions, when you think you are your story, then everything feels personal. Every criticism wounds you. Every setback devastates you. Every fear consumes you. But when you recognize that you're the awareness witnessing all of this, you gain distance. You gain perspective. You can watch your thoughts without being controlled by them. You can feel your emotions without being overwhelmed by them. And from that place of awareness, from that place of inner stillness, you can make much better choices. You can respond to life instead of reacting to it. You can act from wisdom instead of fear. You can create your life intentionally instead of just letting it happen to you. So how do you get to that place? How do you access that awareness? You do it by becoming present. Right now, as you're reading these words, bring your attention to your breathing. Feel the breath moving in and out of your body. Notice the sensation of air moving through your nostrils. Feel your chest rising and falling. That's it. That's all you need to do. When you bring your attention to your breath, you automatically become present. You step out of the endless stream of thoughts about the past and the future, and you land in the only moment that actually exists, this one. And in this moment, right now, are you okay? I'm not asking if your life is perfect. I'm not asking if all your problems are solved. I'm asking right now, in this actual moment, are you fundamentally okay? You're breathing. You're aware. You're alive. And in this moment, that's enough. The suffering we experience doesn't usually come from what's happening in the present moment. It comes from our thoughts about what happened in the past or what might happen in the future. It comes from comparing our current reality to some idealized version of how things should be. It comes from resisting what is and wishing things were different. But what if you could just be with what is? What if you could meet this moment exactly as it presents itself without trying to change it or fix it or escape from it? What if you could bring a gentle curiosity to your experience instead of harsh judgment? When you do this, something miraculous happens. The struggle eases. The tension releases. And in that relaxation, in that softening, you create the conditions for change to occur naturally. Because change doesn't come from force, change comes from love. It comes from acceptance. It comes from being present with what is so fully and completely that transformation happens on its own. Think about it. Have you ever tried to force yourself to change something about yourself through self-criticism and judgment? How did that work out? Did beating yourself up make you more motivated or less? Did hating your body make you healthier? Did judging your past mistakes make you wiser? Probably not, because change that comes from a place of self-rejection isn't sustainable. It creates more of the same negative energy that caused the problem in the first place. But when you approach yourself with compassion, with understanding, with genuine care for your own well-being, everything shifts. You start making choices that honor yourself instead of harm yourself. You start treating yourself the way you would treat someone you truly loved. And from that place of self-love, real change becomes not only possible, but inevitable. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but I've made such terrible mistakes. I've hurt people. I've wasted so much time. How can I just accept that and move on? And I hear you. I understand that guilt and regret. But staying stuck in guilt doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help the people you hurt. It doesn't help you. And it certainly doesn't make the world a better place. What helps is learning from your mistakes and choosing differently going forward. What helps is making amends where possible and forgiving yourself where it's not. What helps is understanding that you did the best you could with the level of awareness you had at the time. And now you have more awareness. Now you can choose differently. Now you can be the person you wish you had been then. Every moment is a new beginning. Every breath is a chance to start fresh. You don't have to wait for New Year's Day or Monday morning or some perfect moment in the future. You can begin again right now, right here, exactly where you are. And beginning again doesn't mean denying your past or pretending it didn't happen. It means integrating your past, learning from it, and using it as fuel for your growth. Every difficult experience you've had has given you wisdom. Every failure has taught you something valuable. Every heartbreak has deepened your capacity for compassion. Nothing has been wasted. It's all been part of your education in being human. So what does your new beginning look like? Only you can answer that. But I can tell you this, it starts with a decision. A decision to stop waiting for perfect conditions. A decision to stop making excuses. A decision to take responsibility for your life, not in a way that blames you for everything that's happened, but in a way that empowers you to create what happens next. Because you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are a creator. You might not be able to control everything that happens to you, but you can absolutely control how you respond to it. You can control the meaning you give to events. You can control the thoughts you choose to believe. You can control the actions you take. And that's where your power lies. Not in trying to control external events, but in taking full responsibility for your internal state. When you realize that no person, no circumstance, no past event has the power to determine your worth or your happiness, you become free, truly free. This freedom comes from understanding a simple but profound truth. You are not your circumstances. You are the one experiencing your circumstances. And you have the power to change your relationship with whatever you're experiencing. You have the power to find peace in the midst of chaos. You have the power to find joy even when things aren't perfect. You have the power to love yourself even when you feel unlovable. How do you develop this power? Through practice, through showing up for yourself day after day, through choosing presence over distraction, through choosing love over fear, through choosing faith over doubt. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. And let me be clear, this isn't about positive thinking or pretending everything is fine when it's not. This is about being honest with yourself about where you are while simultaneously holding a vision for where you want to go. It's about acknowledging your current reality without getting lost in it. It's about feeling your feelings fully while remembering that you are not your feelings. You are the space in which feelings arise and pass away. Everything passes. This is one of the most important things you can understand. Whatever you're going through right now, it will change. It might not change as quickly as you'd like. It might not change in the way you expect, but it will change. Because change is the only constant in life. Everything is in motion. Everything is evolving. Everything is becoming. And you are becoming too. Every experience is shaping you. Every challenge is strengthening you. Every moment of darkness is preparing you to appreciate the light. You are not the same person you were a year ago or even yesterday. You are constantly evolving, constantly growing, constantly becoming more of who you really are. So, relax. Take a breath. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. You just have to be willing to show up for your own life, to be present, to be honest, to be kind to yourself. Because here's what I've learned after all these years of studying human behavior, of working with thousands of people, of observing my own journey. The people who are truly happy, the people who are truly at peace, are not the ones who have perfect lives. They're the ones who have learned to work with whatever life brings them. They're the ones who have developed a strong relationship with themselves. They're the ones who know that their worth is not dependent on external validation. These people understand that happiness is not a destination to arrive at. It's not something you achieve once you get the right job or the right partner or the right amount of money. Happiness is a way of traveling. It's a choice you make in each moment. It's a practice, not a prize. And peace, real peace, doesn't come from having everything under control. It comes from accepting that you're not in control and learning to trust the process anyway. It comes from surrendering your need to know how everything will work out and being willing to take one step at a time into the unknown. The unknown is scary, I get it. We've been taught to fear uncertainty, to always have a plan, to know what's coming next. But the unknown is also where all possibilities live. It's where miracles happen. It's where transformation occurs. When you can learn to be comfortable with not knowing, when you can learn to stay present in the uncertainty, you open yourself up to opportunities that you couldn't have planned for or predicted. Life has a way of working out. Not always in the way you expect, but often in ways that are better than you could have imagined. But you have to be willing to let go of your rigid expectations about how things should unfold. You have to be willing to be surprised. You have to be willing to trust that there's an intelligence at work in the universe that's far greater than your limited human perspective. Some people call this intelligence God. Some call it the universe or source or higher power. The name doesn't matter. What matters is recognizing that you're not alone in this. You're not separate from life. You're an integral part of it. And just as your body knows how to heal a cut without your conscious intervention, just as nature knows how to grow a tree from a seed, there's a knowing within you, a wisdom that can guide you if you learn to listen to it. That inner wisdom speaks to you through your intuition, through your gut feelings, through those quiet nudges that tell you when something is right or wrong for you. But most of us have learned to ignore that voice. We've learned to trust external authorities more than our own inner knowing. We've learned to doubt ourselves, to second-guess our instincts, to look outside ourselves for answers that can only be found within. Your new beginning involves learning to trust yourself again. It involves quieting the noise of external opinions and expectations so you can hear your own truth. It involves asking yourself, what do I really want? What really matters to me? What kind of life do I want to create? And then having the courage to honor those answers, even if they don't match what other people think you should do. This takes courage, real courage, because it's much easier to follow the well-worn path that others have traveled. It's much safer to do what's expected, to fit in, to not rock the boat. But safe isn't always healthy, and fitting in often means abandoning yourself, and the boat sometimes needs to be rocked. You were not born to live a small life. You were not born to play small, to hide your light, to settle for less than what your soul is calling you toward. You were born to express your unique gifts in the world. You were born to love and be loved. You were born to grow and evolve and become more conscious. You were born to make a difference in some way, large or small, and the world needs you to step into that. The world needs your unique perspective, your creativity, your compassion, your courage. There are people whose lives will be touched by you in ways you can't even foresee right now. There are contributions you're meant to make that only you can make. But none of that can happen if you're stuck in the past, paralyzed by fear, or waiting for perfect conditions that will never come. So what are you waiting for? What's holding you back? Is it fear of failure, fear of success, fear of judgment, fear of being alone, fear of not being enough? Whatever it is, I want you to understand something. That fear is not your enemy. That fear is just a part of you that's trying to keep you safe. It's the part of you that remembers getting hurt in the past and doesn't want to experience that pain again. But you can acknowledge that fear without letting it run your life. You can say to that fearful part of yourself, "Thank you for trying to protect me. I see you. I hear you. But I'm not in danger right now, and I'm choosing to move forward anyway." You can feel the fear and do it anyway. You can be scared and brave at the same time. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is feeling the fear and taking action despite it. Courage is knowing you might fail and trying anyway. Courage is risking rejection in order to live authentically. Courage is choosing to be vulnerable even though you might get hurt. And yes, you might fail. You might make mistakes. You might fall flat on your face. So what? You've failed before and you survived. You've made mistakes before and you learned from them. You've fallen down before and you got back up. Failure is not fatal. It's just feedback. It's just information about what doesn't work so you can try something different. The only real failure is not trying at all. The only real mistake is letting fear keep you from living the life you're meant to live. The only real tragedy is getting to the end of your life and realizing you never really lived, you only existed. And I don't want that for you. I want you to really live. I want you to feel deeply, to love fully, to take risks, to make mistakes, to learn, to grow, to express yourself, to follow your curiosity, to honor your passions, to be authentic, to be vulnerable, to be real, because that's what life is about. It's not about being perfect. It's not about having all the answers. It's not about avoiding pain or difficulty. It's about showing up fully for the whole human experience, the joy and the sorrow, the triumphs and the defeats, the connection and the loneliness, all of it. And when you show up fully, when you stop holding back, when you stop playing it safe, something magical happens. Life meets you there, opportunities appear, synchronicities occur. The right people show up at the right time. Resources become available. Doors open that you didn't even know existed. But none of that can happen when you're playing small, when you're hiding, when you're waiting for permission or for perfect conditions. It only happens when you take that first step, even though you're scared, even though you don't know exactly where it will lead, even though you can't see the whole path. You only need to see the next step. That's all, just one step at a time. And each step you take gives you a clearer view of the next step. You don't need the whole map. You just need to start moving. And as you start moving, as you start taking action aligned with your true self, you'll notice something interesting. You'll start to feel more alive, more energized, more present, more connected to yourself and to life itself. Because you'll be living in alignment with your soul's purpose instead of fighting against it. Your soul knows why you're here. Your soul knows what you came here to learn, to experience, to contribute. And when you align with that, when you stop trying to force your life into some predetermined mold and instead allow it to unfold naturally, everything becomes easier. Not necessarily easy, but easier. More flowing, more graceful. You start to trust the process. You start to see that even the difficult times have purpose. You start to recognize that everything is working together for your highest good, even when you can't see how. You start to relax into life instead of constantly fighting against it. And that relaxation, that surrender, that's not weakness, that's wisdom, that's maturity. That's the hallmark of someone who's learned that control is an illusion and that true power comes from working with life instead of against it. So right now, in this moment, I invite you to take a breath and just relax. Relax your shoulders, relax your jaw, relax your mind. You don't have to figure everything out right now. You don't have to solve all your problems today. You just have to be here, now, present, and available to this moment. And from this place of relaxed presence, ask yourself, what is one small thing I could do today that would honor myself? What is one small choice I could make that would be aligned with who I want to become? What is one small step I could take toward the life I want to create? It doesn't have to be a big thing. In fact, it's better if it's small, because small, consistent actions create lasting change. Small steps taken every day will carry you further than big leaps taken once in a while. The key is consistency. The key is showing up for yourself day after day, moment after moment, choice after choice. And some days will be easier than others. Some days you'll feel motivated and inspired and ready to take on the world. Other days you'll feel tired and discouraged and tempted to give up. That's okay. That's normal. That's part of being human. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep going. On the hard days, be especially gentle with yourself. On the days when you feel like you're not making progress, remember how far you've come. On the days when you want to give up, remember why you started. On the days when you feel alone, remember that you're part of something much bigger than yourself. You are connected to all of life. You are supported by forces you can't see. You are loved by a universe that brought you into existence for a reason. You matter. Your life matters. Your choices matter. What you do with this one precious life of yours matters. And it's never too late to begin again. It doesn't matter how old you are, how many mistakes you've made, how much time you think you've wasted. Right now is a new beginning. Right now is when your life can change. Right now is when you can choose differently. So choose love over fear. Choose presence over distraction. Choose action over procrastination. Choose authenticity over pretense. Choose growth over comfort. Choose faith over doubt. Choose yourself, not in a selfish way, but in a way that honors the truth of who you are and why you're here. Because when you honor yourself, when you live from your truth, when you align with your purpose, you give others permission to do the same. Your courage inspires courage in others. Your authenticity gives others permission to be authentic. Your willingness to be vulnerable makes it safer for others to be vulnerable. You change the world by changing yourself. And that's what this moment is offering you. A chance to change, a chance to begin again, a chance to step into a new way of being. Not someday in the future when conditions are perfect, but right now, exactly as you are, exactly where you are. You are exactly where you need to be for a new beginning. All the experiences that brought you here have prepared you for this moment. All the lessons you've learned have given you the wisdom you need. All the challenges you've faced have given you the strength you need. You have everything you need right now to take the next step. So relax, breathe, trust. You've got this. Not because you're perfect or because you have it all figured out, but because you're willing to show up. You're willing to try. You're willing to grow. You're willing to begin again. And that willingness, that openness, that's all you need. The rest will unfold in its own time, in its own way. Your job is not to control the outcome. Your job is to show up fully for the process, to be present, to be authentic, to be kind to yourself and others, to do your best and trust that your best is enough. Because it is enough. You are enough. Right now, exactly as you are enough. Not because you're perfect, but because you're real. Not because you have all the answers, but because you're willing to ask the questions. Not because you've arrived, but because you're willing to take the journey. And what a journey it is. What an adventure. What a gift to be alive, to be conscious, to be here now in this moment with infinite possibilities stretching out before you. Yes, there will be challenges. Yes, there will be difficulties. But there will also be joy and love and beauty and connection and growth and moments of pure magic that take your breath away. So relax into it. Trust it. Allow it. You are exactly where you need to be. Everything is unfolding perfectly. Your new beginning is here, right now, in this very moment. All you have to do is say yes. Yes to yourself. Yes to life. Yes to the adventure that's calling you forward. The time is now. The place is here. The person is you. This is your moment. This is your new beginning. Take it, own it, live it, and watch as your life transforms in ways you never thought possible. You've got this, you really do, and I believe in you, even if you don't quite believe in yourself yet. Trust that belief. Let it carry you forward until you can feel it for yourself, and know that you're not alone. You never have been, you never will be. You are supported, you are guided, you are loved, always. So take that breath. Take that step. Begin again, right here, right now, exactly where you are. This is it. This is your time. Make it count. You are creating your life right now, right this very moment. With every thought that passes through your mind, with every belief you hold, with every assumption you make about yourself and your world, you are literally constructing the reality you will experience tomorrow, next week, next year. This isn't some mystical mumbo-jumbo. This isn't wishful thinking. This is the fundamental truth of how life works. And once you understand it, once you really grasp it at the deepest level, everything changes. Your thoughts are not just random electrical impulses firing in your brain. They are creative forces. They are the architects of your destiny. They are the paintbrush with which you color your entire existence. And here's what most people don't understand. You cannot think about something without beginning to attract it into your life. You simply cannot. It's impossible. Your thoughts are like magnets, constantly drawing toward you the very things, circumstances, and people that match their frequency. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. You're saying, but wait, I've thought about having more money my whole life and I'm still broke. I've thought about finding love and I'm still alone. I've thought about being healthy and I'm still sick. And I want to address this right now because this is where most people get confused and it's where the real teaching begins. When you say you've been thinking about money, what have you really been thinking? Have you been thinking, I have abundance, I am prosperous, wealth flows to me easily? Or have you been thinking, I don't have enough, I'm always struggling, money is hard to come by, rich people are greedy, I'll never get ahead? You see, there's a massive difference. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. You attract what you think about most of the time. And if what you're thinking about most of the time is the absence of what you want, then that's what you're going to keep getting more of. The universe doesn't hear your words. It doesn't respond to your wishes. It responds to your vibration, to the energetic signal you're sending out through your consistent thoughts and feelings. When you think a thought of lack, when you focus on what's missing, when you complain about what's wrong, you are sending out a signal that says, more of this, please. And the universe, in its infinite wisdom and perfect law, delivers exactly that. But here's the beautiful part, the part that should fill you with hope and excitement right now. You can change this. You can change it right now, in this very moment. You don't have to wait for circumstances to change. You don't have to wait for someone to give you permission. You don't have to wait until you have more education or more resources or more time. You can start right now by simply becoming aware of your thoughts and consciously choosing new ones. This is what the law of attraction really means. It means that you are a living magnet. Every single thought you think is creating your future. Every single belief you hold is either opening doors for you or closing them. Every single word you speak is either blessing your life or cursing it. And the most powerful thing about all of this is that you get to choose. You have free will. You have the power to direct your thoughts, and therefore you have the power to direct your life. Let me tell you something that changed my life when I finally understood it. You are not your circumstances. You are not your past. You are not your current bank balance or your current relationship status or your current health condition. You are pure consciousness, pure creative energy, pure potential. And that pure potential is always, always, always available to you. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. It doesn't matter what's happening today. What matters is what you're thinking right now, because your thoughts right now are creating your tomorrow. I spent years of my life living in reaction to my circumstances. Something would happen and I would react. Someone would treat me badly and I would react. Money would get tight and I would react with fear and worry. My health would falter and I would react with anxiety and stress. And all of those reactions, all of that reactive thinking just kept creating more of the same. It was a vicious cycle and I couldn't figure out how to break free. Then I learned this fundamental truth. You cannot solve a problem with the same level of thinking that created it. You cannot change your life by continuing to think the same thoughts you've always thought. You have to rise above your circumstances. You have to think from the end result. You have to become, in your mind and heart first, the person who already has what you desire. This is the method. This is the secret. This is what works every single time without fail. You must learn to think from your desire fulfilled, not about your desire. There's a massive difference between these two approaches. When you think about your desire, you are acknowledging its absence. You are creating from a place of lack. You are saying, I want this thing I don't have. And that feeling of not having it is what you're actually creating more of. But when you think from your desire fulfilled, when you assume the feeling of already having it, when you live in your mind as if it's already done, already achieved, already yours, you are creating from a place of abundance. You are sending out a completely different signal. You are telling the universe, this is who I am. This is my reality. And the universe must respond by bringing you circumstances, people, and events that match that reality. Let me give you a practical example. Let's say you want to create more money in your life. Most people approach this by constantly thinking about how much they need money, how they don't have enough, how bills are due, how they can't afford things. Every thought is focused on lack. And what happens? More lack shows up. More bills, more expenses, more reasons to worry about money. But what if you changed your approach? What if, starting today, you began to think from abundance? What if you started assuming the feeling of already having plenty of money? What if you walked through your day feeling prosperous, feeling wealthy, feeling abundant? What if you said to yourself, money comes to me easily and frequently. I am a money magnet. Abundance is my natural state. And what if you really felt these words, really embodied them, really lived as if they were already true? Something miraculous would start to happen. Opportunities would begin to appear. Ideas would come to you. People would show up with offers and possibilities. Checks would arrive in the mail. You would find money in unexpected places. The universe would begin to rearrange itself to match your new vibration, your new assumption, your new way of thinking. This is not theory. This is not speculation. This is law. This is how it works. This is how it has always worked. And the reason most people don't experience this kind of magic in their lives is because they keep thinking the same old thoughts, holding the same old beliefs, telling the same old stories about why they can't have what they want. You have to understand something crucial here. Your thoughts are not neutral. They are either creating or they're destroying. They're either lifting you up or pulling you down. They're either opening possibilities or closing them. There's no middle ground. Every thought counts. Every thought matters. Every thought is either taking you closer to what you want or further away from it. And here's something else that's really important. You cannot monitor every single thought that passes through your mind. You have thousands of thoughts every day, and trying to control all of them would drive you insane. But you can monitor how you feel. Your feelings are your guidance system. Your feelings are telling you what you're thinking about, what you're focusing on, what you're creating. When you feel bad, when you feel anxious, when you feel worried, when you feel angry or resentful or fearful, those feelings are telling you that your thoughts are not serving you. They're telling you that you're focused on something you don't want. They're telling you that you're thinking from lack, from limitation, from fear. And in those moments, you have a choice. You can keep thinking those thoughts and keep feeling those feelings and keep creating more of what you don't want. Or you can stop, take a breath, and consciously choose a different thought. This is where your power lies. This is where your freedom exists. You can always choose a different thought. Always. No matter what's happening around you, no matter what circumstances you're facing, no matter what anyone else is doing or saying, you can always choose what you think about it. And when you choose a better thought, a thought that feels better, a thought that lifts your spirit and raises your vibration, you are literally changing your future in that moment. I want to talk about resistance for a moment because this is where so many people get stuck. They learn about the law of attraction. They understand that their thoughts create their reality. They start trying to think positive thoughts, and then they wonder why it's not working. Why are things not changing? Why is life still difficult? Why do I still have the same problems? The answer is resistance. You're thinking the new thoughts, but you don't believe them. You're affirming abundance, but you feel like you're lying to yourself. You're visualizing success, but your underlying belief is still one of failure and impossibility. And that belief, that resistance, is blocking your good from coming to you. You cannot affirm your way out of a belief system that contradicts what you're affirming. You cannot visualize prosperity while believing you're destined to be poor. You cannot create health while believing that disease is more powerful than wellness. Your beliefs are the foundation. Your beliefs are the soil in which your thoughts either grow or wither. And if you want your new thoughts to take root and produce fruit in your life, you must first change your beliefs. How do you change a belief? You change it by questioning it. You change it by examining where it came from. Most of your beliefs aren't even yours. They were given to you by your parents, your teachers, your culture, your religion, your society. You absorbed them when you were young and impressionable, and you've been living by them ever since without ever questioning whether they're actually true or whether they serve you. Take a belief like money is hard to come by, or you have to work hard for everything you get, or life is a struggle. Where did that belief come from? Did you test it? Did you prove it? Or did you just accept it because someone told you it was true? And more importantly, is it serving you? Is it helping you create the life you want? Or is it keeping you stuck in patterns of lack and limitation? When you start to question your beliefs, when you start to examine them critically, you realize that most of them are just thoughts you've been thinking for so long that they've become hardened into beliefs. And if they're just thoughts, then you can change them. You can choose new thoughts, think them consistently, and create new beliefs that actually support your desires instead of contradicting them. This is the work. This is the real work of transformation. It's not about saying affirmations that you don't believe. It's not about pretending everything is fine when it's not. It's about getting honest with yourself about what you really believe, where those beliefs came from, and whether they're true or helpful. And then it's about consciously, deliberately, consistently choosing new thoughts that align with what you want to create. Let me tell you about the power of assumption. This is something that most people completely miss, and it's one of the most powerful tools you have for creating your reality. An assumption is simply something you accept as true without proof. You assume it. You take it for granted. You live as if it's already a fact. Now, most people are making assumptions all day long without even realizing it. They assume they're not good enough. They assume they'll always struggle. They assume other people are better or luckier or more deserving. They assume their past will repeat itself in their future. These are all assumptions, and they're all creating reality. But what if you started making different assumptions? What if you assume that you are good enough, that you are deserving, that you are worthy of all the good life has to offer? What if you assume that life is working out for you, that everything is always working in your favor, that you're being guided and supported by a loving universe? What if you assumed that your desires are already fulfilled, that what you want is already yours, that it's just a matter of time before it shows up in your physical reality? When you make these kinds of assumptions and you live by them, when you refuse to let circumstances talk you out of them, when you hold to them regardless of what appears to be happening around you, something shifts. Your entire vibration changes, your energy changes, the way you show up in the world changes, and the world must change in response. This is not about denying reality. This is not about being delusional or living in fantasy. This is about understanding that there are many possible realities, many potential outcomes, many different futures available to you in any given moment. And the reality that actualizes, the future that manifests, is determined by the assumptions you hold and the thoughts you think most consistently. You are selecting from infinite possibilities every moment of every day. You're doing it with your thoughts, you're doing it with your beliefs, you're doing it with your assumptions, and most people are selecting by default, by habit, by conditioning, by reacting to what they see around them. But you don't have to do that. You can select consciously, you can choose deliberately, you can decide what you want and then assume it's already yours. I want to talk about gratitude because this is one of the fastest ways to shift your vibration and align yourself with what you want. When you are grateful, when you are truly appreciative, when you are in a state of thankfulness, you are in a state of abundance. You cannot be grateful and be in lack at the same time. It's impossible. Gratitude is the feeling of having, and when you feel like you have, you attract more to be grateful for. This is why I always say be grateful for what you have while you're working toward what you want. Don't wait until everything is perfect to be happy. Don't postpone your joy until some future date when all your desires are fulfilled. Be grateful now. Be happy now. Appreciate what's already in your life, even if it's not everything you want yet. When you practice gratitude consistently, when you make it a daily habit to acknowledge and appreciate the good that's already present in your life, you are sending out a powerful signal of abundance. You are telling the universe, I have so much to be grateful for. More, please. And the universe responds by giving you more things to be grateful for. But when you focus on what's missing, when you complain about what's wrong, when you constantly point out what you don't have, you are sending out a signal of lack. You are saying, I don't have enough, I'm not satisfied, something is wrong here. And the universe responds by giving you more experiences of not having enough, more reasons to be dissatisfied, more things that are wrong. It's really that simple. And yet, most people spend their entire lives focused on what's wrong instead of what's right. They wake up thinking about their problems. They go through their day noticing everything that's not working. They go to bed worrying about tomorrow. And then they wonder why their life isn't getting any better. You have to break this pattern. You have to consciously, deliberately, consistently focus on what's good, what's working, what you appreciate. Even if things are really challenging right now, there is always something to be grateful for. Always. Your breath, your heartbeat, the sun in the sky, a kind word from a stranger, a moment of peace, a belly laugh, a good meal, a comfortable bed. Start there. Start with the simple things. And as you practice gratitude for the small things, you'll begin to notice more and more good things showing up in your life. Your awareness will expand. Your perception will shift. You'll start to see opportunities and blessings that were always there, but that you couldn't see before because you were too focused on problems. Now, let's talk about action, because this is another place where people get confused. They hear about the law of attraction and they think it means they can just sit on their couch, think positive thoughts, and wait for everything they want to magically appear. That's not how it works. Thoughts create reality, yes, but thoughts also inspire action, and action is how your desires manifest in the physical world. When you're thinking from your desire fulfilled, when you're holding the vibration of already having what you want, you will be inspired to take action. Ideas will come to you, impulses will arise. You'll feel moved to do certain things, to go certain places, to call certain people. And those inspired actions are the bridge between your inner world of thought and feeling and your outer world of physical manifestation. The key